Hey everybody, here we are again. Got the linkage all dialed in. Checked the float levels while it was running. They're as close as they're going to be, I'd say. And got the 145 mains in. Let's fire this sucker up. See if you can watch both carburetors, how they open. Oh yeah. Idling about 700 RPM. So I'm about to cruise down to the parts store, pick up a new fan belt. This thing's seen some better days. Anyways. Alright, I'll get you back on when it's drive time. Well, I ended up messing around with the jets a little bit more. I put 130 mains in. I had 140s in before and it ran pretty well. And then I put the 145s in. And I could tell I was going the wrong direction. It was getting slower. So I went back on the leaner side and went to a 130 main, and it might be able to go to a 135. I don't know. I still have a little bit of a stumble. I'm gonna crank up the accelerator pump adjustment here just a little bit. See if that gets rid of it. And man, I was recording earlier, or at least I thought I was. Man, I hit the damn take a picture button, not the record button. Look at all this bullshit. People dumping garbage all over the place. Unbelievable. This thing on the highway and see what it'll do. Temperature sender for the oil temp gauge on the oil filter, the remote oil filter housing. That's already hitting 203, 1700 RPMs, 21 pounds oil pressure. I'm just running 1030 in it for right now. Try doing a second gear roll on this one instead of yanking her in first. I gotta put a GoPro in this sucker so I'm not having to hold the camera. And this tack, you can kind of see what it's doing. It's all over the place. when I hooked my dwell meter up to it, it was rock steady, so it's got to be this this gauge. There's 1600. The float height and that little channel that's in the carburetor. The fuel level with it running was just about, shit, I don't know, maybe a quarter inch down from that. Seat of the pants, it's running pretty good. So until I get a air fuel ratio gauge in this thing, I'm not going to mess with the jets anymore. See if she'll spin some tire. Not bad. Bring this sucker back home and we'll go over some of the different things I've felt while changing the jets and what I kind of look for. And again, it's kind of just, you know, seat of the pants. If it feels like it's improving in speed, then you're heading in the right direction. If it's just kind of revving out, but it's not really making much power, I guess you could say, then it's usually on the rich side. If it's lean, it can sit there and pop and spit and all that. So let's park this thing in the shade. It's probably about after a half-hour drive. I can dig it. So the idle jetting, I went over that a little bit in the last video, or the video before the last, I think, but basically I had a 50 in it to start with, and then I went from the 50 to 55, and then I went up to a 60, and I drove it, and it was way worse. So I put the 50 back in, and it's plenty responsive with the 50s on the idle circuit, so those are good. When I went up to the 60 and I drove it, it would accelerate, but it was more sluggish on the bottom end. It wasn't spitting and popping, so I was like, okay, that's on the rich side. Now the mains, I started out when I rejetted this with 140s, and what it was doing was it was accelerating, and then once it hit about 4 grand, then it would really start picking up. So I was thinking maybe the air corrector jet was kicking in at, or opening up that portion of the emulsion tubes or whatever at 4,000 RPM. So I figured that the mains were almost there but not rich enough. Well, I went up to a 145. Yep, that was worse. So I knew right there that the jetting was too fat. It was too rich. So I put a set of 130s in, and I haven't tried 135s, but it's running pretty good with the 130s for the main jets. And yeah, I'll leave those in until I get the air fuel ratio gauge put in. But yeah, still gotta clean up some wiring, still gotta pull the rear brakes apart, check that out. But it's good to get the motor running pretty well. We'll see what time prevails, but I would like to get one of my extra crank pulleys and get that set up for crank fired ignition, and then pull that ignition ECU and coil pack out of my 66 out of Herbie and put that sucker in here, and basically have a computer controlled ignition. It'd be pretty wild. But this thing's got such bad timing scatter up in the higher RPMs. I'm surprised it's not backfiring and coughing and spitting. But as you can see in the video, it ran out pretty damn well. But so far, I think it's been doing pretty well. Once I get going on that ignition, I'll definitely hit the record button again. But so far, I'm just gonna start driving it. I almost ran this sucker out of gas. There's no gas gauge with that spun aluminum tank, and there's that oil pressure, or the oil temperature sending unit there. So yeah, it was getting pretty warm, but you know, there's nothing from stopping that hot air from going right back up into the fan. But she's definitely a runner. I do want to do something different with this, because you imagine if this sucker came loose while you're going down the road. I think I'm gonna do like a leather strap or something going across to really hold it down. That side stayed. Yep, gotta do something. Little things. Especially if I drive it like I do. Gotta make sure it's safe. Alrighty, everybody. Well, thanks for tagging along again, and I think that's about it for this video. And everybody, take care out there, and thanks for watching, thanks for subbing, and we'll catch you guys on the flip side.